Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets, how to increase your market business success while providing people with fresh food. Farmers markets are essential. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer or food maker selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast. This week we're talking with Sarah Marshall, owner of Portland, Oregon-based Marshall's Hot Sauce, and her daughter Adeline about nurturing the next generation of farmers market entrepreneurs. Hey everyone, I'm one of your hosts, Bridget Myers. I'm a longtime farmers market manager, Vendor 101 co-teacher, and education coordinator at Farmers Market Pros.
And I'm Cap Fields-White, Director of San Diego Markets, still an active farmers market manager and consultant, founder of Farmers Market Pros, and host of Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, and the Farmers Market Pros community.
And I'm Justine Marzoni-Mead, Tent Talk producer, marketing director for Farmers Market Pros, and logistics coordinator for Intense, the Farmers Market Conference 2022, which is coming up so fast I can't even believe it.
So soon. We have that countdown clock on the website, and it's so scary to
Just
me.
ticks away. Very
Also
exciting. I'm in like excited mode right now.
Yeah.
I'll be scared again like the week before,
In a couple
panicking, and then when we get there and when it starts, I'll be super excited
Yeah,
again.
it ebbs and flows, the
Yes.
excited, nervous energy. But
Yep.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be good.
And we're going to figure out how to get today's guest back.
Yeah.
That's right.
Today's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is supported by Blue Owl Promos, helping market managers and vendors create additional income streams by supplying branded tote bags, hats, water bottles, and more to meet any budget. If you've attended Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, you've seen mason jar mugs, reusable utensils, and notebooks with the Farmers Market Pros logo in your swag bag, all from Blue Owl Promo. For more information on how to increase your income and your visibility, click the Blue Owl logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Well, welcome back to Tent Talk. Today we are joined by our good friend Sarah Marshall of Marshall's Hot Sauce and her daughter Adeline of Adeline's Bunny Puffs. Sarah is a longtime vendor at Portland, Oregon area farmers markets and has spoken at 4 of our annual Intense conferences. I think that's a record. Adeline is a newer market vendor at the age of 8, and we're going to talk about all the ways to get families and children involved at farmers markets, both as shoppers and participants. Welcome back to Tent Talk, Sarah.
Thanks for having me back.
It's been a long time since you was on Tent Talk.
Yes, It's been a little while. But we're always excited to have you on and have you share your expertise.
We didn't spell it out, but that Marshall's Hot Sauce is one of my favorite business names because it's a little bit punny.
Yes.
It's Marshall's Hot Sauce, Haute.
It's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot. Marshall's Hot Sauce.
That's right.
And it's delicious. So Sarah, for many maybe listeners who haven't heard you before or since it's been a little while, can you just give us a little background on like personal, professional background and what got you into farmers markets and how long you've been in markets now?
Sure. Well, this is my 10th year in business.
Wow.
Oh,
So
congrats.
I
That's
know.
wild.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it flies by, doesn't it?
I know, it really does. So that means my 10th year at Farmers Market. I started the market my first year that I started the business. And I started the hot sauce biz kind of I wasn't sure what I was really going to do. I used to do social work and I needed a break from that. And I had been teaching families how to cook and can and preserve and became a certified master canner. And that was part of like my now what seems long ago past, but that's where I started. And then I just kind of thought I would do this a little bit and keep teaching people how to preserve and thought I'd eventually go back to family counseling, but I've just stayed in it and I've stayed in this world and it made it so I could start my own family and I'm still here doing it.
You're still here.
Yay. We love to hear like when people they're just in it for the long haul. And it is so inspiring and so fun to like remember that farmers markets are a launching pad for other things, but you can also just cruise and stay in markets and make it your life.
Yeah.
There's so many people that have been in our markets for, well over a decade now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
And the market is really what brought me into the food world in the first place because I was picking up produce for the group homes that I ran. And so I was meeting all the farmers, they were donating produce. I was then canning it and teaching the kids and families how to do that same thing. And so, I loved that piece a lot more than the other stuff.
What happened after you got the produce?
Yeah. I liked the farmer's market. I liked teaching people. And so I just decided that that's what I wanted to do rather than, I love social work. I love counseling, but it can get pretty dark if you're in it all the time. And kind of as you get better at it, you get harder and harder cases. And I just wanted to be part of my community in a really healthy way. And so, the farmer's market brought me to where I am, and I've just stayed there because I love it.
Yeah, and still helping people, but in a different way and kind of in
just a different way, just a different fashion, food related.
And my guess, as we've talked to Sarah over the years and had her at the conference and things, is that she's sort of the on-site social worker for the market.
Yes. Get that
just
feeling.
Being around her, for anybody listening, she's like the most soothing, sweet person, just like
very comforting.
Right now, just setting a chill vibe here.
That's right.
Well, thanks. I think so. I think whoever my farmer's market neighbor is, I definitely become their talk buddy for sure.
Yes. Everyone loves that kind of neighbor.
Yeah.
So which farmers markets are you in now, and how many do you do like in your peak season there in Portland?
Well, so we do the Portland State University market, which is Saturdays. So that's like the big market that happens where all the neighborhood farmers market vendors come together. So there's, a couple hundred vendors. It's pretty big. It's beautiful. Over the years, I have done less and less markets because I have a family now. So it got harder. In the beginning, I did every neighborhood market. But now I just do that one. And then I do and that's part of the Portland Farmers Market. And then I do the Sauvie Island Farmers Market, which is in a different county. So it's a different market. And that one is very cool because it's out on an island outside of Portland, and there's not anything there. So there's no grocery stores or anything like that. So it's a very necessary market for the people that live there. And it's cool because with the certification of that county, they have to move the market around to different farms on the island. They can't just have it in one spot. And so we get to venture out and explore all of the different farms, and it's at a different one every month. So I do that one now as well, just because it's a great way to have my daughter be part of that world. So we go to a new farm every time, we meet new people. So that's the other one that I'm doing right now.
Wow. What day is that on Saturdays as well? So you have two.
That one's on Sundays.
Okay, so it's both days.
Just one Sunday a month. And so this is my, I think, third year of doing that one. And Sauvie Island is just this really unique place to Portland where it's only about, 20 minutes outside of the city, but it's definitely like a connection to agriculture, and it's very close. And so it's where people go to get their pumpkins and do the corn maze and all of that stuff. And so, when I didn't do that market, I went out there once a year. And when I started doing that market, it really became part of Adeline growing up. And that's what I wanted. I wanted her to be connected to the world outside of the city. And so it's really, I think I'll do it as long as they have it, as long as she's into it.
What a wonderful place.
Yeah, that sounds like really unique kind of situation. I like that a lot, and being on site at the farms. So sounds like things are going well. You're making it work with your family. What is different about how you operate in the wake of the pandemic protocols? Because I know there's been a lot of changes, obviously for all of us, and then in Portland too. So what's different there, and how's that going?
Yeah, there definitely has been a lot of changes. And, in the very beginning of the pandemic, our markets were, I think, a little different than yours. Everything really shut down here. And they called for just farmers to be able to do the market, or people that was their only selling avenue. So we had to limit the number of vendors at the market. And so we volunteered in the beginning to not be there. But instead of being there as a farmer's market worker, I volunteered at the market. So I still came to the market, but I didn't have a booth there. And that was just my way. I wanted to provide them support. So when they shut everything down, the market also, all the volunteers didn't want to volunteer anymore. So they didn't have enough help, and there was a lot more need. So I became the person you guys mentioned that I can be cool and collective. And so I was the official greeter at the beginning of the market because we had to limit the amount of people that could come in. So I just kind of chatted with everybody while they waited, because they weren't used to waiting to be able to come into the market space. But the city had put some mandates on that, how many people could be there at the same time. So I just kind of chatted with people and tried to relieve some of the tension, because there was a lot of it there. And that's what I did at the beginning of the pandemic. And then once they could open it back up to having the city let them have more people in the gathering space, then I came back as a vendor, and I wasn't a volunteer anymore.
Well, I mean, bless you for doing
Right?
that. That
No
was like,
kidding.
we should have
we had her.
flown you out to San Diego.
We actually did get a few of those.
Yeah, we
had,
did.
Like,
Alex
one of our
came.
farmers' brother-in-laws.
Oh, he was really sweet.
Yeah, we had a vendor employee come and work for a while. And it was great. That was really helpful from the market manager side, having vendors help with that, because they were so familiar with the market and could be really understanding about everything that was going on with the customer. So it did ease that tension. I bet that was really helpful for the management at the market where you were helping.
We actually did have to go to just farmers for a while, but it was it was just a few months, and then we gradually were able to add other things. We had an interesting situation where somehow, outside of any stated rules, regulations, or protocols, the city became the person that actually looked at our vendor list every week and decided whether or not an individual vendor was essential. And so olive oil was essential, but infused olive oil was not.
Yeah,
it was very strange.
That's tough stuff, I'm sure, for you guys as market managers. I imagine if they had to do that, it would be the same. I mean, I think the people, we had other avenues of selling. So we sell online, we sell in stores, and those avenues were fine. And so, but for like a lot of the farmers, they don't do that. They just sell there, or even some of the food vendors and things. So it was like, if that was their way of their only way of having income, then, they needed to be there. So I think that's how they made the decision of essential workers. It wasn't necessarily what they did. It was like, if they had another way to sell it or not. So, but we got through that. And I feel like the markets they're different now than they were. I think that it's not as much as a gathering space anymore. Even still, they want people to come in and go out. So we used to have a lot of music, a lot of activities. Those kinds of things haven't really come back yet to the Portland city market. They are out at the farmers market. They're doing things like that. But I think they're still feeling like wielding with caution, because they don't want the city to come shut things down. So they're just making all the decisions for what's essential to the market. So.
Yeah, we understand that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything brewing for Marshall's hot sauce, like new and different, coming in 2022?
Another book, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, that beautiful cookbook. Oh my god.
Well, I have a few things that I did over the pandemic. So I had a lot of time to experiment, because I had a lot more time here at home. So I started doing, we still have all of our sauces and all of those flavors. I have about 27 flavors that come in and out of season, just based on seasonality. And some of them will only make like 100 bottles of, or something like that. But then I started doing these spice blend seasoning packets. So when I came to Intense last year, I was talking about the things I was doing to stay connected to my customers. And I really realized that people needed help cooking at home, because so many people, because all the restaurants were closed here, and, people were having to cook that hadn't. I just tried to really simplify things. And I used to write recipes that were a little bit more complicated, because I wanted to be teaching people something. But then I realized that I really needed to teach people like super basics. So I started doing these cooking demos where I would do these simple recipes. And then I started doing these seasoning packets where I got a freeze dryer, and I started freeze drying shallots so that they would just rehydrate into people's food. So people didn't even have to cut an onion. They could just open, whatever it was and make these things. So I did a dehydrated hot sauce for it. So it would give it a lot of unique flavor. So it wasn't just like combining spices, because I felt like people could do that at home. I really wanted to offer something to them that would make things really easy. So I did a taco seasoning. So it has everything in there that people can do with like meat or tofu. I did a chili one, a barbecue, and a chicken marinade. And so those all launched this year. I don't wholesale them. I just sell them at the market and online, because it's tedious to do them, obviously, because there's so many steps to it. I'm freeze drying, I'm dehydrating, I'm grinding, I'm drying tons of herbs from our garden. So I really was trying to just be more connected to creating something very special that somebody else couldn't do. So that's my newest thing that I have going on.
That's
such a cool idea.
Yeah, that's a great side.
I love that.
People
As a
love
basic home cook, I appreciate things like that.
Yeah, when
Just
you're saying
add water.
you don't want to mix spices because people could do that at home. I remember bringing a spice mix back to Bridget from a trip that I was on, and she was so excited. And I've been cooking a lot longer, and Bridget actually has become an amazing cook during COVID. But before that, she was not so much a cook, and she was really, really excited to have a blend of spices that she could just count on.
Yeah, Kat was like, "Here you go. I think you need something like this." No judgment, but here you go. And it was so great. So that is really helpful, and I do agree that that's why I learned to cook, is that I was just home so much more, and the restaurants were closed, and it was like that kind of forced everybody into the kitchen. And so I think vendors like you, I've seen it, other vendors too, have really expanded their offerings and taken the skills that they have in the kitchen making their product and just expanded that to help all of us up and coming cooks.
Yeah. Plus, spice mixes, I'm surprised you don't do those at the markets because they'd be a lot lighter to carry in and out of a tent than bottles of hot sauce.
Yeah.
I do sell them at the markets. I just don't wholesale them because
gotcha.
it's me packaging them up, and
Right.
it's just like I couldn't really do that to a grocery store because it's so tedious.
Yeah, so much work.
Yeah. Well, cool ideas. So we wanted to talk with you about kids and families at farmers markets because, so much of what you do is integrating your own family into the farmers market and also making the farmers market your family. And it seems like you've done that really gracefully with Adeline. So our first question is just, there's lots of ideas about how to pull in families and children at markets. But especially now when markets are maybe still trying to downplay activities or musicians, still trying to keep the market as a place where you get your groceries as an essential service. So what do you think is the best place to start with making your market family friendly?
Well, I think the first step is allowing people to bring their families to the market because some of the markets, are still saying only have one person from your household come to the market. And so I think that's really hard for families to do because they don't have somebody else at home. So they just can't come to the market if that's the case. They have to go to the grocery store. So I think some of those restrictions that we still have in place make it really hard for families to be at the market. I hope that they end soon because even as a vendor, I don't bring Adeline to market with me anymore. I used to. She does come once a month to do her bunny puffs. But she doesn't come hang with us all the time at the Portland city markets. She comes out to the Sophie Island one because they don't have those same expectations. But, so I think that's the first thing. But I think otherwise, if we're just talking regular normal markets, like if we go back to normal ones soon, I think that, to get kids connected to the farmers and to get kids involved in the market, I think they need to be able to interact with them. So I think, Adeline loves when there's a scavenger hunt, where especially one that involves her talking to a farmer and asking them something. Those ones are really cool because she, everyone knows her at the markets that we do, but for kids that don't know the farmers, it's a good way for them to figure out what they do, what they make, be really connected to them. So I think those are always fun. Even if they have like a sticker for a prize, a farmer's market sticker, that she's stoked on that. She sticks it on her door. She's proud of it. It has her involved in the market right away. I think, our market has experimented with all kinds of things. They've had kids booths where there's like toys and things for them to play with, like hula hoops and jump ropes and bubbles and things like that. That's always fun. I think especially when you're thinking about just a regular shopper, also thinking about the vendors' kids are there all day. And so I think having something for them to do, like the Sophie Island Market has a sticker table with stickers and coloring sheets. And that's like the first place that she goes when we go and do that market. And she, is stoked to like color and draw. And I'm stoked because she's busy. So I think those kinds of things. And then we have sometimes community booths where, someone from the community will come and talk to kids about whatever it is that they do. So some kind of programming. So we have the Rose City Roller Derby ladies. And so they'll come to talk to kids about roller skating. Adeline's super into roller skating. I think it's probably, has something to do with that. And sometimes they'll have the marimba club come and the kids can be interactive and play the marimba there. So I just think anything that's going to show them something they wouldn't see in their normal day is really great.
Those are all really great ideas. And I love that you brought up that a lot of the vendors have their kids there too. I mean, at our market, we don't have a lot of little kids anymore, but Polito does have a little guy that comes. He's probably like 10 or 11 because he works in the booth.
And Miso Hungry.
Oh, yeah.
I went to them this weekend, and they do a Japanese food, musabis. And she has maybe an 11-year-old that's working the front counter, taking the orders, taking the money. She's so on top of it.
Too.
And then she has a little one that's kind of helping. I don't know how much she's helping, but she's involved on the kitchen side.
She's supporting.
Well, I mean, Adeline's been, because she's 8, I started, 10 years ago. So I was clearly pregnant when I was working the markets. And so, everyone has known her whole life. And so, I at that point, I was, working pregnant. And then once I had her, I didn't have employees or anything. So it was just me coming to the market. My husband worked at a different job then at a school. And so I just strap her, to my chest as a baby. And then, as, we had a little chair for her, then we had a little pop-up, playpen. Like she just came with us. She's been with us always. And so it's like, she has definitely grown up within the market. But then there's things that to think about that I always talk to my market managers about, because I just like to let people know what it's like to be a vendor, experiencing childbirth and then experiencing being a nursing mom was like a big deal. I didn't always have a place to nurse her. So the farmers market at first would let me sit in their market truck because we, as vendors, we can't park like around the market. You have to park far away. So I didn't really have anywhere to go. And you don't really want to nurse your baby in an outhouse, and you don't really want to
Porta
do it
John just doesn't sound like a good fit.
bad boundaries to do it at your booth. So they would let me sit in the truck, but then they ended up finding like a designated space to tell like nursing vendors, nursing customers that there was a place to go. And that was something that just came out of me experiencing that and being vocal about it. I don't know what everybody did before me, but I just kind of let them know. And now they have like a space to go. And the other thing about like changing babies, you need a place to do that. Like you can't just do it at the booth and you can't do it in an outhouse. So
yeah. Having options for that. Yeah. I don't know. We have like, actual restrooms at our market. So I know there's changing tables and stuff. But when I was pumping, I was just going into the storage shed to pump. I didn't have my baby, but that's what I did at the market. So it's nice to have an area to do that kind of thing. Not something that everyone thinks about. So
sure,
the truck was available.
Well, good thing the market has you to be like, hey, this is something that we should have.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for, entrepreneur parents or somebody that is with child who's also about, working at the market, or any advice for people that want to work at the markets that do have kids, of how you've been able to find a balance there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a great way to have them connected to the community right away. And so I think it makes your children more social if you bring them with them. It makes them care about the other people at market. Adeline is such a caring kid. She always wants to give everybody everything. So when we go to the market, she wants to, I know you guys have posted about Marvin. He wears a different vegetable shirt. He's always my favorite. Adeline wants to know what shirt he's wearing every time she comes to the market, and then she wants to bring him a snack. So it's like, it just creates this really good community and social dynamic. So I think if you can make it work, I think you should make it work. But I also understand that that's not going to work for every kid. It's not going to work for every family. And maybe people have somewhere else for their child to go during that time. But I think if you don't, try to find a way to make it work. And so, that's why we sort of did this business with Adeline. There was a lot of reasons why we started it, but one of them was that we needed to find something for her to do when she was coming with us. And so this is a good way to do it.
Smart.
I think that's so smart. So we're going to talk to Adeline pretty soon about her business and how that's going. But I wanted to ask you first, logistically and permit-wise and all those good things, how does Adeline's business work having a child, own the business. Do you own the business, but she's kind of your front guy? How does she get a permit and insurance and all those things?
Don't tell her this. But
I know. I'm going to keep this under.
So, there's a shell company.
Does she listen to Tent Talk?
Yeah.
She'll listen.
She'll listen to this one, right?
Cut this part out.
So we run everything through the business, just like it's another product for us. I actually manufacture everything because she is not old enough to have a food handler's card.
Yeah, we were wondering about that with Lisa Hungry on Saturday. It was
yeah.
Does that little girl working back there on prep have a food handler's card?
So she doesn't actually handle any of the food. What she does is she puts stickers on all of the bags, and then I put the food into the bags, and then she seals them, and so because we have like a little vacuum sealer. So those are the things that she does for the business. She designed the logo. She came up, she was like the setup person. So we, because we had the freeze dryer, we tried all these different things in the freeze dryer. She picked the things that she liked. It was really a way for us to kind of do these science experiment projects during COVID because she was having a hard time with online school. So I thought, I can't really make sure that she understands these things that she's supposed to get in class, but I can give her a life skill. And that life skill is going to be how to have this business. And so that's sort of what we focused on. So we did like science with the food dehydrator. We did math while she was at the market. She takes her little calculator. She adds up the cost of things. And she got social skills by trying to sell stuff and know that what it is to pay attention, to talk to people about things. So that was really what this was about, was that this is what I could do for her during the pandemic because school was hard. She'd never really been on a computer. She had a hard time sitting. And so this was like a good way to enhance her skills in the only way that I knew how.
So I feel like maybe you should turn this into some kind of a module that you can get out into schools. When schools are in session, I feel like starting and running a farmer's market business would be a great way to teach kids about math and science and entrepreneurship and all of those good things.
All the things.
Yeah, so we should expand that. I was going to ask you, and by the way, Adeline shouldn't feel bad about that. I'm sure all those things with Martha Stewart's name on them are not things that Martha Stewart actually chops and puts in the jar.
Licensing.
So, Adeline, she's
licensed
talent.
And this was just like a way, so if you look at the packaging, it says, manufactured Marshall's Haute sauce. Like I do the manufacturing of the food, but she has definitely, she came up with a design. She loves, she can tell you about it, but she loves bunnies. She picked what we were going to do. So she is very much the creator of the business, but I am basically the co-packer.
Love it.
There you go. You're her co-packer.
That's great. So it sounds to me like this question won't really apply as much to Adeline's business because it's kind of housed within Marshall's hot sauce. But we've seen a few farmers markets holding special farmers market days that features kids' businesses, either that, a school group puts together or just kids that want to give it a shot. Do you think that the regular vendors who are relying on sales to support themselves have any resentment for children, or for that matter, adults, that come out to the market with something that's essentially a hobby that they just want to get out there and, it's not necessarily a financial need or taken quite as seriously? Do you think regular vendors, well, you're a regular vendor, would you find that to be something that you would think wasn't quite fair because they didn't have the same costs and things?
No, I don't think so. I think, what we've experienced with Adeline is that all of our farm buddies and other vendors there are stoked that she's there, and they come down. They're probably her number one supporters. So I think that,
of course, she's been a lifelong market mascot too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think so. But I don't think so, because I think that even, especially maybe not farmers, because a lot of our farmers are there, in it for generations. But I would say for people that are food entrepreneurs, I think that everyone gets their start somewhere. So I think they see kind of the magic in that even if it is just a side business or it's not the way that they make their main income, I think that makes it more special because maybe it will inspire them to have it be their business. And everyone sort of starts that way. I started it as a side business as well, but then just never went back to my regular job.
Right. Yeah. So do you think there's an actual benefit to markets, to encouraging children and young people to become vendors?
I think so. I think it brings them, it connects them to the market for sure. So they're going to be shoppers there. I think the new generation has to come somewhere, because if you want to keep having farmers markets and not have everything be online, the newer, younger kids and adolescents, and even beyond that, need to feel connected and feel like they can be part of it. And that might be coming up with some kind of new product, like a freeze dryer, for us to bring the freeze dryer to the market. A lot of the farmers are very interested in it, because my thing has always been preserving and teaching people new ways to preserve. And so that's why I got it in the first place, was to try to be able to pass that on to people, that this is a new way of doing things that people are into.
So I think that's a really good point. Even if these kids don't turn into market vendors eventually, which would be awesome, the fact that they're there all the time, they're developing that connection to farmers markets, so they will be farmers market shoppers at the very least.
Yeah, and I'm sure too, if your market did have a kid vendor and then kids were at the market, that would be a really exciting thing for them to see. If there's another 8-year-old walking around shopping the market seeing Adeline, I'm sure that would be so exciting.
That's the thing, is Adeline is a draw for kids because of what she's selling, because it's a product for children. And so then once you realize that and you look around, it's like there's not a lot of stuff at the farmers market that's made for kids. It's made for the grown-ups that are shopping there. And so of course fruit is there for kids, but this is something interactive. So when Adeline's giving samples to these kids of freeze-dried food that they've never had before, she's talking to them about it and they're excited about it. And so, we have, especially when we do the Sauvie Island farmers market, where they don't even have a place to go. There's not a store. They don't have a place to go get candy or chips or something like that. And so, all the kids that live on the island are stoked for Adeline and her booth, because she has this really cool snack that they haven't had, that they can't get, and it's exciting. And so they all come to her booth and they keep coming back and buying her bunny puffs. It's like the sweetest thing. And then by the end of the market, she's like buddies with all the kids that live on the island, running around the haystacks and the corn mazes. And it's just like a really cool way for everyone to be connected in a really special way.
Yeah, it's just
amazing.
it's just a different kind of connection, right? It's just the same connection that we're having with our farmers and vendors, but just for younger kids.
Younger people.
Yeah.
That's right. So I guess the last thing before we move on and find out from Adeline's point of view how exciting this business is do you have advice for parents who have an entrepreneurial child, who have maybe a kid that has an idea about a product, and how would you suggest that they let them exercise that imagination and creativity and still, kind of use it as a teaching moment to let them know how it is to run a business?
Yeah, I think that, there's good ways to do it. I think, I see a lot of kids Adeline's age that want to start a business, and they'll talk to her about it because she has this business, and I think she'll tell you about what she does, but the first thing that she does is invite them to come check out her business, to come to the market, to come see her, to see what it's like to work at the booth. And I think that for parents, you can do that too. If you don't have your own business where you can just have them come along, like holiday craft shows or school shows are a great way for kids to do that, because they'll let you have kid booths and let your child have a booth. So I think the first thing is to figure out what they're into and what they're going to like doing. Adeline loves food. She always has. So we picked, a food business because she loves to talk about food. She loves to eat food. She loves when other people are eating food. And so that's what we chose. But maybe if your child is into something else, of course, pick something else. But I think you just have to find something that they're super into and that they're going to be excited talking to people about. And that's, I think, the key to it. But you can start, I would say, at like a school craft fair. Their rules are pretty minimal there for letting you in.
Yeah, great idea.
A little bit easier.
We actually have an 11-year-old that just took the Vendor 101 class. So we're still trying to explain to his parents that there are some things like insurance and stuff where not everything can really be in his name, but we're trying to nurture him along.
Yeah. What do you know? Do we know what his product is?
Herbs and candles.
Okay.
All right. Things that smell good.
Things that smell good. You're right. There you go.
There we
That's
go.
what he's excited about.
Yes.
It's
love
great.
it. All right. Well, I think we can bring Adeline in.
Okay, let me go get her.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
All right, Adeline, can you tell us about Adeline's Bunny Puffs and what they're made out of, and how do you make them?
Tell me about the bunny puffs. You want to start with the raspberries?
They're freeze-dried berries, candy, and marshmallows.
Yum.
That sounds delicious.
That does sound delicious. What kind of berries do you use?
Raspberries, blackberries.
Have you've done pink raspberries before?
Oh,
Yeah,
yum.
pink and white raspberries.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get your berries at the farmer's market?
Mm-hmm.
Yum, awesome. How did you come up with that idea? Was it something that you made for yourself to snack on first? Or you just
No.
thought other people might want to eat that?
No, so there is a business with freeze-dried Skittles, and we had them, and they lived really far away. So since Mom had a freeze dryer for her business,
Do we do some experiments?
we did experiments, and then we kind of just wanted to spread it, so we kind of started the business.
Yeah, I just tried drying different things. Did you freeze dry anything that didn't taste so good when you freeze dried it?
Yes.
What are some things that don't taste good freeze dried, just so I know for later?
Well, some stuff turns out really sticky. She said, remind me of what we didn't like. So when we first got it, we threw everything in there, right? We tried gum and chocolate, and those things didn't turn out right. Yeah. But like gummies, if you put like a gummy worm in there, they get super huge and they puff up.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And it tastes good too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how the freeze dryer works? Do you know what it does? No.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, you can say it.
Yeah, I think it does something like sucks the moisture out or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it freezes things down below like -20 degrees, and then it pulls all the moisture out of whatever you're freeze drying, and then it slowly lets heat in, and so then that makes it puff up. So if any kids have ever had like astronaut ice cream, right, is the closest thing it's to.
I have never had that, but I don't know.
Yeah. In my day, we had astronaut ice cream was the only freeze-dried thing. And so now it's like really fun for kids to eat. What's it do when you put it in your mouth?
It's like a flavor explosion.
Oh, yes.
That's a great tagline.
That is
It's
a great
flavor explosion.
I bet that helps sell it at the market. Does it kind of like melt in your mouth when you're eating it?
Kind of like it dissolves.
Yes. Yum. That sounds like a good farmer's market treat. So what is the hardest part about selling at the farmer's market?
It's the hardest part.
Waiting, because sometimes the people don't come.
You have to talk a little louder.
Waiting, because sometimes it takes a long time for them to come to our.
Oh, waiting for shoppers to come over to your booth and buy your stuff. Yes, I bet a lot of vendors feel that that's one of the hard parts for us.
That is the hardest part.
Justine agrees.
Just like looking
I told her, is
busy.
that sometimes sitting there, you think, is anybody ever going to come? Like,
Yeah.
why
Like
am I
throwing
here
a
right
party
now?
where
But,
everybody's late.
yeah.
Yes. Even the market managers feel that way. Sometimes we have a market and we're like, is anyone going to come to this market?
Yeah.
It's hard to wait. Definitely hard to wait. What's the most fun thing about selling at the markets?
What's the most fun thing? What do you like about it?
Well,
You get to answer. What do you like about it?
Do you get to meet new people at the market?
sometimes my friends come to visit me.
Oh, I love that. I like it when my friends visit me at the market.
What about do you have favorite farmers and farm buddies that work at the market? Like Barb or Marvin?
Those are your.
I guess I'm excited about when my friends are visiting the market too.
Do you see anybody wearing cool shirts at the market? Cool fruit shirts? Yeah.
That's Marvin.
That's Marvin. Oh, nice. Well, what What do you talk to other kids who say, hey, I want to start a farmer's market business too? Do they ever like ask you questions about that? Or if someone asked you, I want to start a business making stuff for the farmer's market, what should I do? What would you tell them to do?
What do you tell kids to do when they ask you about your business? What? Do you tell, well, yeah, you do. What do you do? Like when we're roller skating and you meet new buddies and they tell you about your business, what do you tell them to do? Do you invite them to your booth? Well, I can answer for Adeline.
Yes.
She's feeling like she doesn't know what to say, but what she does is she invites people to come to her booth. So she says, you know, if you want to have your own business, you can come out to the Sylvia Island Market and see what it's like to sit there and wait. And
not the Sylvia Island Market.
The downtown one? Is that the one you invite people to?
Yeah.
Okay, the downtown market.
A little easier to get to sometimes.
Yeah, but I think she invites people to come. Her friends sometimes come and sell with us and sit with us, and
Nice. She's like a little
The
incubator
one who
for
comes
everyone.
and sells with us is Audrey.
Yeah,
She's the only one.
her best buddy.
Oh,
comes.
best buddy. That's nice.
Yeah.
Have a little friend help you
Mhm.
out. Awesome. Do you have any new ideas for your business? Are you doing anything new soon? Or are you just going to keep doing what works and just keep making all those berries?
We're doing for Christmas, we're doing freeze-dried peppermint marshmallows, and we're going to let out the freeze-dried sour Skittles.
Wow. That sounds like a good Christmas treat. I'd
Yeah,
like that in my
so
stocking.
I want to put that in my hot cocoa.
Yes.
Yeah, so for the farmers market, we do these vegan marshmallows because it, fits in with I guess that's like the key is that we had to find a way for things to fit in still with our business. So, we do the raspberries are organic raspberries from Groundwork Organics. And so they're at the market with us. And then the marshmallows were vegan marshmallows, which is important for our customers. But we did peppermint for the holidays.
Yeah.
Nice.
Smart.
That sounds really good. I would love that in my hot cocoa.
So, Adeline, it's a little weird, I know, to talk on a microphone and not be able to see everyone you're talking to. I bet, because I've met you, that you're pretty sparkly and outgoing at the market. Is that true?
You should tell them about what you decided about your booth when we first set it up. What did you decide it needed?
I put sparkles all over it.
You did.
Sparkles all over your booth.
Yeah.
And my hair is sparkly.
Yes, I
Yeah.
can see. I know our listeners can't see your beautiful hair, but you have sparkles in your hair, which I'm
She
sure
came-
people love.
Yeah, she came home after her first market and was like, "Mom, my booth needs some pizzazz." And so we went and got some sparkly things because our branding is very clean, black and white, not pizzazzy by Adeline standards. So we had to, she has her own separate table, like separate from ours, and so we had to really pizzazz it up with lots of glitter and sparkles, and
You can stand out. You
yeah.
can stand out. That's awesome.
There's nothing minimalist about peppermint marshmallows.
No.
Standing in sparkles and you're standing in the darkness.
Mom's booth is in the darkness.
Pretty accurate.
Step
Adeline
into the light.
Maybe we should
Sparkle it up.
Cracking me up over here.
Well, Adeline, thank you for telling us about your business.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Anything else you want to tell them? Anything else? You don't have anything else? That's it. Okay.
That's all right.
Well, thank you.
Spilled all your trade secrets.
That's
Now we
right.
know.
We'll hope to see you in San Diego again, Adeline. Thanks for being with us today.
Yes. Thanks for talking
Thank
with us
you.
today.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
That's all.
That was it. That was it.
That's
That was
it.
it.
Bye.
Thanks for talking with us today, and then we'll talk to you soon and
And we'll be in touch about the conference.
be in touch about the conference.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Sarah.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye,
Bye,
Adeline.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Tent Talk today, and big thanks to Blue Owl Promos for supplying farmers market vendors and operators with everything from food packaging and uniform shirts to branded merch, and for supporting Tent Talk, the farmers market podcast. To get more information or place your order, click the Blue Owl logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Farmers markets are all about connection, and all of us, operators, farmers, and vendors, keep learning. Join us and your fellow market participants at the 6th Annual Intense the Farmers Market Conference in San Diego, California on March 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2022 to grow your market and your community. Connect with people just like you from various parts of the country and share what's happening in your area in the terrific conversations over in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community. You can also message us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros or email us at connect@farmersmarketpros.com. Thanks for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you access your podcast, and tell us and others how you're enjoying Tent Talk. If you are listening on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss the next episode. Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is proudly produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni-Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll have another great episode next week. Tune in.